So a friend of mine the other day, Protestant friend of mine the other day, says to me, "Your Pope says Joe Biden's a good Catholic." I said, "No, he didn't." And he looks at me strange. I said, "Joe Biden said the Pope said he was a good Catholic. Joe Biden also said he drove an 18-wheeler for a living. Joe Biden also said he finished top of his law class. Joe Biden also said that he was arrested protesting apartheid back in the day. Joe Biden was talking to a group of truckers just a couple of years ago, and I heard him clearly say, 'Oh yeah, I used to drive an 18-wheeler back in the day.' And the trucker looked at him surprised, like, 'Really?' He goes, 'Yeah, you got to do what you got to do to, make a living.'" Everybody knew that was a lie. Joe Biden has done nothing but been a politician his whole entire adult life. He's never driven a truck. But of course, the media just ignores it. If Trump said something like that, that would be 24/7 news. He's a liar. And then when Biden was running for president the first time or the second time, I think the first time he had to drop out for plagiarizing. Second time he dropped out for getting caught in a bunch of lies. But the one big whopper was he was yelling like he does. Biden's always yelling at people. Even when he was young, he was always yelling at people. And he's yelling at this lawyer saying, "I'm way smarter than you. I finished top of my law class. You probably didn't even go to law school." So the reporter researched and found out, no, he did not finish top of his law class. He finished at the bottom. And that wasn't the first time he had said that. He was always bragging he finished the top of his law class. And then the apartheid, there's no history of him ever protesting apartheid. He went to South Africa as a senator and was detained by police to protect him from a crowd that was protesting, but he wasn't being protested. So these are all proven lies, and I can go down the list. I can tell you 100 lies Joe Biden has said. So I know Joe Biden was lying when he said Pope Francis told him, because Pope Francis didn't come out and tell us. This was just supposedly a private conversation. So how do I know Joe Biden was lying? His lips were moving. I've watched this guy for 40 years. If his lips are moving, he's lying. So I'm not surprised that anti-Catholic Protestants believe these lies about Pope Francis. But what really disturbs me is when Catholics repeat these lies. I had a Catholic one time tell me, Pope Francis said homosexuality isn't a sin. I'm like, that's a lie. "Oh no, Taylor Marshall said it." I'm like, okay. That don't mean nothing. So I looked up what Pope Francis said, and then I watched the video that he referred to. So in the video, Taylor Marshall's like, "Pope Francis," this is how he talks about our Holy Father. This is the kind of Catholics we're dealing with on YouTube these days. "Pope Francis says homosexuality isn't a crime." And then he's like, apparently he didn't read his Bible. And he's reading Romans 1 where it says homosexuality is a sin. And I think in Timothy, homosexuals won't get to heaven. And Leviticus, homosexuality is an abomination. And it's a live stream going on. So people in the chat are saying, how could he not think it's a sin? And he's like, I don't know, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, this is terrible. And like, they're just bashing the whole time. But if you notice, what he said was, Pope Francis said homosexuality is not a crime, but he's leading people. He's very Taylor Marshall is what he accuses the Pope of being ambiguous many times. He's leading people. He's not being clear. He's leading people to believe Pope Francis said it's not a sin, even though he didn't say Pope Francis said it's not a sin. And if you read the whole quote, the context was Pope Francis was talking to Muslim leaders that were killing people in their country for being homosexual. They were killing them. And he said, and so what the statement was, Reuters says, you're defending these people. You're saying these Muslims shouldn't be killing homosexuals. Do you think homosexuality is a sin? And Pope Francis said this, his quote, "Homosexuality is a sin." So he's saying it is a sin, opposite of what Taylor Marshall led his whole followers to believe. But it's not a crime that should be punishable by execution. And then you have all these guys, John Henry Weston, repeating that lie. Oh, Pope Francis said it's not a sin. What's that other clown? Michael Matt. All these guys are like these are the entitled college boys that never served in the military that I spoke about the other day. They all need to go to boot camp and understand what authority is, understand what adversity is. They sit behind these little cameras. This is fun. This is a hobby, but this is their job. They do, and they ask you for more money to do more of it. So, people say, well, Rob, you shouldn't be doing this. That's slander and calumny. No, slander and calumny is lying about something. This is what they do for Pope Francis. They lie. They slander Pope Francis. I'm telling you the truth about these people. These are the people Jesus warned us about, wolves in sheep clothing. And he was like, oh no, these are good family men. They all have big families. They're very conservative. These are the people that St. Paul said, St. Paul shakes his head. He's telling the Corinthians, come on, man. Come on. The devil disguises himself as an angel of light. Why are you surprised that the devil's servants don't disguise themselves as ministers of righteousness? These people are caught lying about Pope Francis. How could they be godly men? And I'm not the only one. Father Thaddy Doyle from God's Cottage was blown away the first time he heard Taylor Marshall lie. And he showed what Taylor Marshall said and what the Pope said. And he's made several videos since then, other lies Taylor Marshall said about the Pope. One of our greatest priests for life, Father Umberto, same way. He was shocked at the lies Taylor Marshall said, and John Henry Weston, and all these clowns. So it's not just me. A lot of Catholics are seeing these are lies. Now, they go, people say, we could disagree with the Pope. Yeah, you could disagree with the Pope, but you can't lie about him. Even canon law says that canon law 1373 even warns us, even when we're disagreeing with the Pope, we need to do it respectfully and not cause people to get angry at him. These people make a living causing people to get angry at the Pope. So the next time you hear someone say the Pope said this or the Pope did this, go to the source and see what the Pope actually said, see what the Pope actually did. Whether they're Catholics or Protestants telling you this. And if the Pope did say something that you don't understand, pray. Don't criticize him, or you're in sin if you're a Catholic. Pray about it and give him the benefit of the doubt. As the Catechism says, don't have rash judgment. The Catechism says we should avoid rash judgment and always give our brothers the benefit of the doubt. Especially the Pope. Come on, man. So God bless. Stay Catholic and stay Catholic.